the deck. And there we are. Welcome, everybody. This class is going to be talking about the 5 things that you must do before starting an email newsletter. My name is Arvell Craig from Chatbot Funnels, Design That Speaks, CoFocus. And this is going to be a good class, okay? So we've got 45 minutes to cover the information. Might go a little shorter depending on if there's any questions, if anybody jumps on later on. And just, yeah, if you got some questions, I want to leave some time at the end to answer anything you have specifically. And let us get into it. So real quick, 5 seconds about me. I've been doing marketing online since 2001. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to arvellcraig.com, funnels.chat, or cofocus.app to kind of see what I'm up to. As you can see on the screen, I've worked with hundreds of companies over these almost 20 years. And when it comes to speaking and training, workshops, I've been a 5-time speaker at Inbound, Affiliate Summit. I've taught companies like 6 Division on chatbots and marketing automation. And so Digital Summit series, I'll be at Digital Summit in 2 weeks on their online virtual event where you'll see Seth Godin and other marketing gurus. So this is going to be good. So I want to share with you some things, and it's going to help you how to improve your email marketing. And so the context of this class, I do have a larger full scope class and course that we've been building for the past couple of weeks. This is, 2020 late, it's November, so it's fresh material, fresh content. I'm giving you all the best practices that I know. And as people have given me questions about their specific businesses, from community type businesses to B2B companies, we've got some special lessons that talk to certain people with certain types of classes. So that is what's in that course. If you like what you hear today and you want to get the whole course, if you haven't already got it, make sure you pick that up. Now, let us get into it. So the agenda today is going to be super simple. Number 1, I want to talk about 4 newsletters that make over $1 million. Actually, that was one of the triggers that had me want to talk about this. It was an email by Noah Kagan where he talked about these newsletters, trying to, I guess, inspire people to think about email newsletters. Of course, he has a business called SendFox that does email marketing. So I can definitely understand his intent behind that. So I want to address that, and I want to pull out from it some things you can take away, but actually the problems and the things that might hinder you from taking that strategy as something that you're going to do. The next thing I want to talk about 5 things. This is the core lesson, right? The core lesson is the 5 things that you must have in place in order to have an email newsletter that is profitable and that helps your business grow. Okay. And then lastly, I do want to share with you 3 ways I can help you, because not everybody, the most successful companies, you don't do everything yourself. And so there's different ways, different levels of relationship that if you need some help getting the results faster, I do want to share that with you as well. Okay. Now, let's get into these 4 different things. I'm going to actually turn off the screen sharing, put it on this mode, and let me just check one thing real quick. Look at my email, make sure there's no bugs, nothing. Okay. Now, so first thing we want to talk about is the 4 those 4 examples of newsletters that make over $1 million. So I don't know if that catches your attention. And so the first example is a company called The Hustle. You can go to thehustle.co, a lovely landing page that purely just talks about signing up for their newsletter. So they are an interesting company, right? They're one of the types of business that do a daily email newsletter, right? So their emails are hitting every single solitary day. And their business model is going to be their events. And then they have a private community that you can buy as well. And they may have some sponsored content as well. So that's The Hustle, right? It's a daily newsletter. That also reminds me of number 2 is bensettle.com and Email Players. He has a daily email newsletter he's been doing for a long time. He's specifically talking about marketing, while The Hustle talks about startups and the tech industry and investors and things like that. Ben Settle is a marketer, and he's teaching marketing topics, marketing lessons, but he has a real unique style. And he's like, and he has a newsletter where he salespeople on his print newsletter. And again, this is a 7-figure business And his core business model is sending out daily just text emails every day about some random topic, and then tries to get you to buy mainly his newsletter, his print newsletter, which comes out once a month. Okay. And that's a different strategy, right? Both of these are daily newsletters. Next, you got AppSumo, which is Noah Kagan's business. And what makes them unique is that their emails, I don't know if it's, no, it is a daily, it's a daily deal, right? And so what makes it special is the fact that the value of the actual deal, the promotion, the offer, the opportunity that they're offering every day is something different, right? The Hustle and Bensetto, they have their standard products, and the email is just daily engagement or news pointing to those standard products, while AppSumo has something new every day. So every day people would open up this email because you don't know what's going to happen, right? That's a daily newsletter. And then lastly, there's Mr. Spoils or Mr. Soils, Mr. Spoils, and this is going to be primarily a curated newsletter, right? It's not fresh written content. It is images that are curated, right? So they didn't create the content. They found other people with content and they put that into the newsletter. And which is unique, they partner with people, partner with influencers, partner with people with a big, large audiences, and gets them to share their ideas, to do their own curation. So it's a really interesting way to do partnerships. So these are 4 different newsletters, all responsible for generating over $1 million per year in these businesses. And that's beautiful, right? Now, the issue is that many of us, if we're hearing these stories, unless you are already a big content generating, idea generating business, unless you already have all these connections and opportunities, these business models are just so far away. To me, they're not practical, right? So my business, when I come with a company, my goal is to help them get some sales, get some results as fast as possible, to get some traction, to get some confidence that when they look at their marketing, when they put $1 in or $1,000 in, that they feel confident that they're going to get some results that they expect. Now, these business that I just described all are likely investing tens of thousands of dollars into the production. And for most people, these are not realistic. And so what I want to share with you is kind of a more realistic way to think about email marketing in a way that can help you to grow your business, right? Assuming your business is not email, right? Your business is not newsletters. Your business has a different product. You have a different way that you exchange value for money. And so let's get into, these are the 5 different things you need to have in place before you think about creating some type of newsletter, right? Whether you want to go, again, I don't know if you go daily, you don't have to go daily. If you want to just, again, you can get there, you can go daily if you have these things in place, but ideally you don't want to start there. So the 5 things I want you to think about, and these are not necessarily in order. I probably will get into later on, after I give these 5 things, how to prioritize them, what I would have in place first. But let's just start on the main first thing. So the first thing you have to realize is that what I want you to do, so I'm putting on my coach hat, right? So I'm coaching you. You have a business. You're like, hey, Arvell, I want to start a newsletter and see how that can help my business grow. So one of the things I want to know from you and your team is, do you know your marketing DNA? And what is that? So the marketing DNA is an idea that I first learned from Perry Marshall, where he talks about everybody when it comes to marketing, which marketing is 2 aspects. One is what you say, and it's how you say it. And even so those are 2 things, how you communicate. And if you don't know, there's more than one way to communicate, right? And this actually answers one of the biggest issues many people have. They'll say, hey, I hear email is a simple way to make money. However, number 2, the issue is that I don't like writing. I hate writing. Writing takes me forever, just like blogging. I don't want to do it. And so the issue with this way of thinking is that writing is not the only way to communicate. So what I work with clients and figure out, what is your marketing DNA, right? Because number one, you might like to write, and that's great. But number two, your thing might not be writing, it might be speaking, on video. So if you can speak on video, I'm going to encourage you to do that, right? Or number three, you might like audio. Maybe you like to communicate, but you don't want to communicate with your, visual. You're concerned about the visuals, which it's like a podcast. It's like an audio, right? You don't have to show your face to communicate, right? And then lastly, there's images. You can use images to communicate. That's whole Instagram, that's Pinterest. That's a little bit of a combination of less words with some art, with some visual, and that can help to engage with people, keep them updated with what you're doing, right? Because like the Mr. Spoils, they mainly show images, right? That's the core of their business, is showing beautiful pictures. It's a curated list, picture, 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 picture. And at the bottom, they may have an article, they may have like a promotion of something, but the core business is visual, right? So if you're a visual person, you don't have to speak, you don't have to write, right? So let's figure out, what is your marketing DNA? And the other aspect of this, because if your style is not written, therefore, if it's visual audio, of course, that's not going to be done via email. That's going to be done somewhere else on some other platform. So the role of your email is going to be more of a curation or more of a notification, is letting people know, hey, this is what I just recorded. Check it out. So your email content, for people who actually want to engage with you, they're signing up to get notified about that visual, about that audio, about that video, okay? If it's not written. So you're creating your content somewhere else, and your weekly newsletter or your weekly emails, even if it's daily, could be just, hey, click on this link, check out what I just put out there, right? So that's the marketing DNA. Let's figure out, whether it's you or your team, whoever's going to be creating content, what's the style that works best for you? Now, number two, which is related, is the idea is that I want you to have a content creation practice, okay? I want you, before you think about having an email, I want you to first commit and figure out your groove, figure out what you're going to do, and let's just get you to create more. You need a practice. I love this idea from Seth Godin. He's got a book that just came out, I think this week, and he talks about the difference between a habit and a practice. A habit are things that we do on a regular basis that eventually become automatic. Habits like driving are not conscious, right? You just do them and they're for your benefit. But the idea of a practice is something that you do consciously. You do it on purpose, and it's not necessarily just about you as a business owner, as a marketer, as a communicator. The practice that I want you to create of sharing and creating is not for you, it's for your audience. And so this is the number two thing I want you to have in place before you think about committing to a newsletter and pushing out newsletters on a regular basis. I just want you to once you figure out your DNA, because it might not be writing, I want you to have a habit of creating content. Figure out the practice, whether it's ideally, either it's every day, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It's not about the volume, but it's the commitment, the commitment to your craft. You're a professional, just like you show up for work every day, not because you feel like it, but it's your job. Your job in marketing and communicating and interacting with your audience, both customers and future customers. You need to practice, you need to commit to sharing what it is that goes on in your head, your perspective of something. You need to create a content creation practice, either daily or multiple times a week, or worst case scenario, once a week. And if you have a practice where you know you're going to show up and produce, then I'd feel more comfortable saying, now that I know you've got this production system going, now let's build up this email list where we can either point to that or, redirect or repurpose some of the content that you've already done. We're going to also share it over email. Okay, now let's get into point number three. Point number three is, before you start an email newsletter, you need to have a lead magnet. Okay, you need to have something to give to people in exchange to get them to join your email list. But it's not just anything, right? You don't just say, hey, join my newsletter, I'm going to give you tips, right? You want to have a lead magnet that does a couple of different things. Number one, it gets them to join your email list, but not just anybody. You want a lead magnet that is attached to your offer, to your actual core business, right? Know what your business is, know what you're selling, and you're going to extract a little piece of what your main business is. And this lead magnet is going to demonstrate the value of what your actual main business product offer is for the cost of an email address. Okay, that's how I want you to think about a lead magnet. Because if you have a lead magnet, number one, you're going to get people to join your email list. But number two, it's not just anybody join your list, it's prospective customers, prospective buyers who are interested in your actual business offer. That is what you're going to be offering in the as your lead magnet. Okay, again, in our email marketing course, I do teach you 10 to 15 different ways to create lead magnets. Okay, and I have another training in the course to show you how you can make some types of lead magnets you can make in 30 minutes or less. I can get you to make a very attractive lead magnet, again, that points to the primary offer. And that brings us to number 4. And that is, before you start your email newsletter, I want you to strengthen your offer, right? Your main business, right? Because the goal of the email, right, is the idea that it's going to help you make money. But when I'm wearing my coaching or consulting hat and I'm working with a client and they're talking about creating content, whether it's email or social or YouTube or podcast, I want to create content, like that's cool and all, but remind me, because the goal of all the content and what do people call it? They call it a value video. But what is the offer? Is your offer strong? Is it irresistible? Is it desirable? Is it actually converting? Because if your offer is not already converting, if you're not confident that the actual main thing that your business does can sell to a specific person, I want you to redirect that energy on this newsletter thing. Let's strengthen your offer. Because as you begin to buy traffic, generate leads, develop this email list, if you're not clearly certain that people want to buy that core offer, I'm like, pause on the newsletter, make your offer stronger. Okay. And again, whether some people call it, you can Google irresistible offer. I call it a proven offer. We want to prove it. We want to make sure it works first, clearly, before we invest into the system that's going to lead people to it. Okay. Make sure your offer is proven, it's strong, it's irresistible. Let's massage it. Okay. And again, in my email course, I get into training specifically, my course and a lot of my coaching, because everybody's different. I really like to help people make sure their offer is better, because that's foundation before you do the other stuff. Okay. And then the last thing I want you to think about is going to be, I want you to have a sales sequence. Okay. So when most people think about email newsletters, they're thinking about once a week, how do I stay in touch with my customers and make money? And the problem is that the frame of mind is not as I would like it to be in order for sales. In other words, I want you to have a sales sequence. In other words, when somebody joins your email list, we've already covered that they're joining not just to get tips and tricks, they're joining because they're going to get your lead magnet that proves that they want the offer, right? And so before we start to give them tips and updates on a weekly basis, I want to connect your lead magnet to your offer when they first join your list with a sales sequence. Okay, think of it like a bridge, right? There is the lead magnet, and as soon as they join, because the lead magnet and the offer are connected, they're related to one another. I say, this is the Thriller album, this is just the song Beat It. Okay, they are connected. And so But as soon as they join your list, this is your biggest opportunity to say, if you like my lead magnet, why don't you buy the whole offer? So the bridge between the lead magnet and the offer, and them actually giving you money for the first time, is going to be a sales sequence, not a generic newsletter, not updates. And so we need to build a sequence, an automation, whatever you want to call it, to lead people from the lead magnet on your list into making a buying decision, ideally within the first couple of days. Okay, so I want you to have that sales sequence in place first, so that your mind is already right. Because when somebody's reading your daily emails or your weekly emails, in your emails, your offer is going to be pointing to that thing. And when they click on it, whether or not they buy or not, I like to have my clients have an automation that if they click that they wanted the offer, they want to see it, they're about to check out, they click the buy, but then they change their mind, that sales sequence will follow up with those people. And I want you to have that follow-up system already in place before you start doing daily or weekly emails in a newsletter. Got it? Makes sense? So let's recap on these. And I actually will pull back up my screen. Let's see, let's share the screen again, pull them back up, and we will finish up the presentation. Let it load. So, number one, before you start a newsletter, learn your marketing DNA. Know your best flavor of communication so you make no excuses that it's not just about writing. Number two, develop a practice, ideally a daily practice or a weekly practice that you create content on a regular basis. Commit to the content just like you commit to showing up and serving your clients. You know, commit to your future clients as much as your existing clients. Number three, create a lead magnet, create a taste, a sample of your offer in order to get people to, in order that the people who join your email list are the actual people you want to do business with. Number four, strengthen your offer. Whatever you're selling, whatever your product is, take some time, invest into making sure that offer is as attractive and irresistible as possible before you begin to invest in buying a list, building a list, and leading people into it. And then number five, build a sales sequence. That sequence is the bridge between the lead magnet and the offer. And make sure you have that place, because as soon as they join your list and get your lead magnet, this is your number one opportunity to continue to speak to them on a regular, consistent basis, no less than once a day over the next 2 to 3 to 4 days in order to get them to purchase your main offer. Got it? Now, the last thing I want to cover is just a couple things, because I try to make this simple, but I do understand that marketing can be confusing. And so I want to just address that for just a moment. Yes, marketing can be confusing. And so what I want to do for you is to give you a simple way to think of it, right? So when I'm working with clients and we're doing a full campaign coaching or consulting or services, there's all these moving parts. You got the campaign, the audience, the offer, making sure the client fulfills the offer, making sure that we've got an email or an SMS or paid traffic, we've got partners, right? Is the goal of the campaign to get a lead? Is the goal to break even? Is the goal to make a profit? And then are the customers happy? Are the customers not just happy, but are they repeat customers? Are they referral? Are they referring other people? You know, what's the ROI or the ROAS, the return on ad spend on your campaign, right? There's all these different things that I know that can make you overwhelmed. I understand that. And so what I want to do is simplify what you need to know and do to make a campaign that is profitable and that works, that gives you a foundation from which you can experiment and do all kind of other things, but your foundational funnel, your foundational sales sequence, your foundational marketing needs to make money on a daily or a weekly basis. And I want to help you to understand how to do that, right? And so there are 3 ways I can help you Should you want my help in having a simple foundational framework to consistently bring in new customers to your business, right? How do we make a super simple funnel so we can create campaigns and invite people to it, right? That's kind of the question that I'm always asking, because there's so many different ways that people get confused. Okay. And so the way I do it is that you just need 3 things in place. Number 1, you need an offer, a proven offer, as I mentioned, that's strong, right? We take an offer and we strengthen it, we make it irresistible, and then we prove it that we know we've got buyers. Number 2, as I said earlier, you need a lead magnet that connects to the offer. And then lastly, there's the email campaign, which is really the bridge between the lead magnet and the offer, which I explained earlier. And here's a simple, PowerPoint, Google Slides based graphic that tries to explain these actually 3 different parts of this process. You see on the left that number 1, that lead magnet gives people a taste of the offer. And then the blue is a bridge. The lead magnet is how you start the journey. And then you're walking over this bridge, and these emails take you to the offer. And then the black line at the bottom on the other lines is a simple way that we need to have measurements. We need to have tracking in place so that we can judge how well is this working? How well is the lead magnet working? How well is the email sequence working? And how well is the offer converting? So the tracking is something that encapsulates the entire process, but the basics is just that bridge. Lead magnet connected by email down to the offer. Okay, so that is the simplest way that I like to see customers have this in place, because if you have this in place, now you can buy ads, you can buy Google traffic and Facebook traffic and partner with influencers. And so your goal in those campaigns is not just to go from an ad to a purchase, but if you can go from an ad into somebody to take a sample, take a taste, get the lead magnet, and then your funnel, this system does the work of selling them on the back end. So that's the process that I help people set up. So if you have questions, you can post those in the chat. You can reply to the email confirmation that you signed up for this. Okay. And so moving on, I want to talk real quick about the fallacy of this African proverb, which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. And in truth, in reality, this is actually a lie. The lie is that by going by yourself, you will go fast. And I believe that it's the opposite. If you want to go slow, go by yourself. That means you have to learn everything. You have to have all the failures, do all the mistakes, grind it on your own. And that is ridiculous, and it's not true. Going on your own is not the fastest way. It's actually the slowest way. And so I do want to encourage you to get some knowledge, get some relationships. Some of you people need to hire it out and not even need to think of it. Some of you do like to create content. And so you may want to learn it, but don't just learn it by yourself. Learn it in the context of with some guidance. And so what I try to do is, even if I'm giving you a training, even if I give you a product, like a video like this or a course, I'm still going to give you access to, even if it's a 20-minute fast sharpshooter training session where we can jump on in a Zoom call. I want to make sure that you never are just by yourself, even if you just buy one of my courses. Okay. And so, like I said, if you want to buy the course, you can do that, but I'm going to give you a coaching session, which is at least $100 of value. I'm going to give you a coaching session when you buy a course from me. So if you want to buy this email marketing course and all the 20 videos that we're putting together, I don't want you to be left by yourself. I will give you a free follow-up coaching session to make sure you can apply it, because I don't want you to just be by yourself. Okay, this is one way you can work with me if you want to learn more. Number two, you can get coaching, right? We can kind of commit to 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or 8 weeks where we work together. We work together and build your campaign, build your, refine your offer, build you a lead magnet, and create that email campaign sequence. We can do it together. That's coaching. If you want that, just let me know. I'll show you how. Okay. I don't want you to be by yourself. And I love to help my clients to get knowledge versus them abdicating responsibility and having someone else do everything for them, throwing all your money to somebody, the guru, and hoping that things work well. And if things don't go well, if they don't have the knowledge to analyze and assess what actually happened and what didn't happen, to me, that's a terrible situation. And so I don't care what you do. I think you need to constantly invest in your own knowledge, even if you decide to farm it out and hire it out, even to build a team in-house. You need to grow in how you understand, the KPIs, the foundations of all these things that we're talking about. So this is the second thing. If you want coaching, we can help you get some coaching, jump into one of these programs where we work together, whether it's me and you or my team and your team. Somehow we're going to collaborate where you're going to get your results and get the understanding and the knowledge and the competence and the confidence behind what actually happens with that. And then lastly, you can hire my team. If that's what you want, we have an application process to make sure you're a good fit and to make sure that we have the capacity, because we only take on 2 to 3 new projects max every month. So you have to go through an application process to see whether or not your situation fits what we do. But if that is what you want, if that's what you need, then we can have a discussion and an application about what that process looks like. Okay, so if you're interested in any of these offers, if you want to buy the course, if you want to get some coaching, or if you want to hire my team and discuss that, all I want you to do is send a text. Just send a text message to me at 918-289-1888, and we'll have a quick chat to make sure we understand what you need, to make sure we give you the right product, the right course, the right coaching situation, or the right agreement with our team to help you. So I appreciate you for your time, and I hope you learned some things from this. I hope you got some value from it. We're going to be going live once a week and constantly doing trainings. So make sure you stay connected to me, whether it's on Facebook, of course, on email, maybe via text, Instagram. However, I'll make sure I get it out to you, but we're going to be going live every week for who knows how long, and continue to be bringing these kind of training / coachings on marketing, email marketing, and however else the winds flow. All right. Thank you for your time. Have a good weekend and create a great day.